Hello, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, hope we meet you well. As you know, it's all the news now that the proposed protest against hardships is engaging everybody's attention, right from the presidency to the governors and to all sorts of stakeholders. Okay, we'll look at that today, and our guest is Mr. Dennis Amakre, MON, security consultant. He joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Dennis, and thanks a lot for, coming on our show. Okay, now. All right, then. I did see your mouth, the lip. But
oh, yeah, thank you. I'm on mute.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be right back to you, but first of all, to get some background, a sort of a background report. Everybody knows the story intensely, I think, and intimately. But nevertheless, let's put out, as I said, it's engaging everybody's attention. And there's this report on the outcome of a meeting that was held between the authorities, and that is the Minister of Information. And, this is that report. And it's coming to you via Maria Ibrahim.
One of the major policies of the Bola Tinubu's administration since inception is the removal of fuel subsidy, which triggered the food inflation and caused some level of inconvenience for citizens. This became a source of concern to many citizens who are complaining of hardship across board. Just about 13 months after the 1-year anniversary of this administration, there seems to be growing dissatisfaction in some quarters about the quality of governance. Clergymen from Charismatic Bishop Conference of Nigeria are here to declare their support for the Bola Tinubu administration and announce that they won't join the nationwide protests against the federal government.
We wish to appeal to our brothers and sisters who are grieved in different parts of the country to follow the cue of the NLC and toe the path of negotiation, toe the path of dialogue, because no meaningful government anywhere in the world.
The minister on his part disclosed that the federal government is not against protests, as the president will not shy away from problems but won't tolerate any acts of violence.
Why everybody is very cautious and very wary of this national protests is because we have seen what has happened around the world. We know that it is almost impossible to hold this protest and then have peace at the end of the day. You cannot do that. People are waiting to take laws into their hands. And therefore, government will always protect lives and property of the people.
He also talked about the renewed hope policies initiated by the federal government that will help solve problems.
Every student that has the necessary credentials to go to the University or Polytechnic or any tertiary institution has the right to do so. And not just that he has the right to do so by paying the fees, also ensuring that we are putting some money, stipend into the pocket of the student so that they will be able to go to school.
Cautious in their approach to resolving issues, Nigerians are encouraged to be patriotic and law-abiding in expressing their grievances, as the Bola Tinubu administration is doing all it can to ensure a better Nigeria for everyone. Maria Mohammed, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay, as I said, and as you well know, there are all sorts of interest groups, as you just saw one there in that report. So everybody's trying to do everything they can to ensure that peace and tranquility, for that matter, remain. There have been appeals by the president and all other well-meaning citizens that, there are many ways to skin a cat, so to speak. Perhaps we have to be very careful, simply because an action like this that doesn't have known leaders could easily get out of hand, especially if it is hijacked. And there are suspicions that there are those who would indeed, who have an interest in doing so, in hijacking it, in infiltrating it, and taking it where it needn't be. People are reminded of the unfortunate incident that the End SARS protest degenerated into, far from the innocent protest that people had thought. The point has also been made that there is the constitutional right, for people to protest. But then the police have got in on it and said that there is a constitutional right, but people have to be very, very, very careful because the authorities are going to be extremely vigilant in assuring that everything proceeds the way it should be. So the point has been made that, yes, the president is aware that there is a right to appear. Nigerians are aware that there is a right to protest. But then again, we have to be very, very careful in the light of our recent experiences with such actions and how they actually end up contrary to the intention of well-meaning people that we're about to stage a peaceful protest. Now let me come back to my guest, Mr. Dennis Amakre, security consultant. Dennis, you've seen, I'm sure you've been on top of the news, and you've seen that there's been a lot of entreaties to the students, the youths, to just be very, very careful while explanations continue as to what is being done. As I could also say that there have also been some instances of some people thought to be involved have put out disclaimers on social media that, sorry, I am not, that's not me. And if anybody is going to go into this whole affair based on thinking of me as a leader, I'm sorry, I'm not. And in fact, it is my advice that we don't proceed. In fact, they have gone as far as saying, if this is a disappointing message, we do apologize. Give me your overview of the situation in Nigeria that you know so well.
Thank you very much, Jory, for this particular topic.
Yeah.
We are, it sounds funny because we are looking for democracy. We have got democracy. And when we got the democracy, most of us thought that democracy is only voting, elections. That's democracy, But that's not it. There are fundamental rights of people, in a democracy. And one of those fundamental rights is the right of freedom of speech and assembly. And that is protest, if you want. Because, you see, is the way our system is structured, whereby we, when we vote people in, and that's the elections, and we believe that that's democracy, we've finished with democracy because we've elected president, vice president, senators, and all the rest, governors, okay? So we allow them to do whatever they want to do. Now, in a democracy, you find out that these tenets of protest is designed for people to air their own view, to air their view, to tell government that, look, what you're doing is wrong, and I want, you to do it like this, And of course, it's a way of allowing the public to participate in the democracy itself, And one thing, the government, I can see, and I'm very happy about this, that the government is not against protest. It's not against protest. What the government is against is violent protest. And violent protest, why? Because of what happened. End SARS. People keep on referring to End SARS, End SARS. End SARS was a very good protest. It lasted for some days. Even the president was relating with them until the hoodlums,
that's right,
inject themselves into it and then scatter everything, because as far as hoodlums are concerned, they are watching for society. the dregs of society where they are watching. You let there be any commotion. It's just like two fighting. Have you seen two people fighting either in a motor park or something? You know, when the two people are fighting, there are others who are not part of the fight. What they are doing is trying to pick the pockets of the people who are fighting. You know, and that's what hoodlums do. You know, they are waiting for the society to burst so that they can just go run inside and cause problem, break into stores, loot it and everything. And then, of course, the security agencies are not going to sit back and say, oh, okay, it's your fundamental right, go ahead, you know. So there are a lot of variables at play here. And for us to even stem it, there are things government can do. There are things people, the protesters can do, you know, to stem this kind of thing. Because in a democratic society, yes, there will be protests. But the protests don't have to be violent. The protest is to communicate back, feedback to government that this is what is happening, this is what we don't like, we hope you can do it like this.
Indeed. Indeed. And excellent, Dennis, as you said. And government is engaging with people. Apart from suddenly, you know, this notice coming up that by this date, we're going to protest. We've said, and you've said also that it is their right to protest. But what are they protesting against? There are those in authority who say, look, so what exactly are you protesting against? We know that there is an economic downturn. There's an economic, there are economic woes that are global. And Nigeria is part of that global community. It's happening everywhere. So what is new? Now, these are the efforts government has tried to explain. These are the efforts that have been, you know, put forward, that are being undertaken. The presidency, the president, you know, has just signed. He's just signed the Local Government Autonomy Act. He signed that, for instance, as an example. He's released grains. Palliatives, other palliatives are in process. So all of these efforts are there, and there are efforts to highlight this. But that is not to say that there are no problems. The presidency says there are problems, and he's saying he's not taking any rest while he's working on all of these matters. And these are not, by the very nature of the problems, they are not problems that can be sorted out overnight or by legislation instantly. And most right-thinking members of society understand that. But the way it is being coming out now is that people want to know what is the protest going to achieve. And that's the one thing that the law enforcement people that you've spoken about, the police especially, have said that we're not going to sit back and allow a sort of a run on democratic institutions, destruction of property. The last time, we keep on referring to it, we have to, buildings were burned, transport infrastructure, all of this were burned. But this was not part of the objectives of the original protesters against, you know, what even the president at the time, remember, President Muhammadu Buhari, agreed that I see what you're saying, come, sit, let's dialogue, let's talk about this. And what they wanted, has been scrapped. But in this kind of a case, it's a lot murkier, and it's not even the doing of this authority, of the current authority. These are the kind of ideas that the authorities are trying to present to the students. In this case, we're saying students, and we imagine that by the very nature, youths are those who usually take part in protests. I guess the task now is traditional rulers. Omanoba, the Oba of the Benin, he has spoken. He has appealed to them. Other traditional rulers have done likewise. That do not go to this protest because we cannot see how it is going to come out in the way that you yourselves want. So these are the situations that we have. In fact, it's gotten so bad that there are suspicions, Dennis, that maybe there are some people behind all of this, and angry words have been exchanged. Angry words have been exchanged between, government spokesmen and some people. Accusations have been leveled. How do we come out of this? I guess we're all going to have to keep a calm head as all of this is sort of progressing and opening up. But the one thing that seems to be very much on the authorities' minds is that there shall not be a breakdown of law and order. They're not going to sit by and allow this to happen.
Yes, Yori, I agree with you totally. In trying to avert this kind of situation, there are many things that government can do. And I'm so happy that the government has started doing some of them. Like number one, realizing or identifying that is the fundamental rights of people to speak, And then number two, of course, trying to get certain people. Because remember, this is the fundamental issue that bothers us in this country. Government is everybody's government. Government by the people, for the people. It's not them and us. There is no competition. Yeah. You understand, Yori?
We're all stakeholders.
Yeah, we're all stakeholders, and it is our thing. Let nobody claim that it is his own. And of course, you mentioned something about some government spokesmen. Those are people that are doing very great injustice to the president. Because you see, people have to watch their mouth. People have to watch what they say. When the president is talking and telling people, cool down, taking care of this thing, I'm trying to take care of it, then you have some of his people working for him coming around and pouring petrol inside. Yeah, let it burn, what you go do, that kind of thing. I think that's something that the president have to also stand up and stamp his feet on. Because if you allow it, generally people in the public will say, oh yeah, he allows it. That's why the person is saying that and doing things like that. You don't allow things like that to happen. Because if we are in this problem-solving mode, everybody must solve the problem. We cannot say, okay, let's solve this problem, and then we're doing something else. The president is saying, well, let's solve it, and meanwhile, things are hard, things are tight, some people have not eaten for a day, then somebody is buying a jeep, driving and pouring water on people who are standing by the road.
Yeah.
All kinds of things that are going on. And, you say, okay, let us, and there should be honesty.
Okay.
Should be honesty.
Okay.
Because when you say that, oh, let us cut down, people are suffering, let's cut down, and then you say, okay, legislators are taking how many millions? Out of that million, their salary is about 2 point something, and they are saying that half of their salary for 6 months. It's nothing when it comes to the real benefits and salaries that they are collecting. You must be honest. Tell people that, okay, no more benefits for us today. No more benefits for us until this economy gets better.
Yeah. Yeah.
People would, these guys are thinking they are for us, But you now cause problems. You are saying, 50% of your meager salary, and then of course the big benefits you are still collecting and taking it home, And then of course the president is running around trying to solve this problem. I think they are not doing justice to this.
Okay. Let me bring in Otumba Debo, who has called in from Abeokuta. Good morning, Otumba.
Okay. Good morning, Kuyori, and good morning, the guests.
Yes.
What I want to say is that this food protest should be allowed. It is a job by government agencies, particular security agents, when they start shooting. or these government-sponsored talks to attack protesters. It should not be so. So
no,
they should
well,
Otumba,
I'm sure you're well aware that government has not said anything against a peaceful protest, which you just said. Your sentence was that peaceful protest should be allowed. Government has even acknowledged that it is...
Hello, you mentioned ESAS. It was disrupted by government security agencies.
Okay.
And that turned into...
Okay. Okay.
That's an assumption.
Well, you see, this is part of the situation that we have to contend with again, because there are notions and ideas. In fact, this is one of the things that those who have counseled not going on, those who have been thought to be organizers of this group, some of the things that I've read on social media that they are saying is that it's just an assumption that I am a leader here. I am not. People are just, assuming that. So Otumba Debo also just, made an assumption right there, and we won't go into that because we're dealing with the present, not with the past. But as you know, it's experiences from the past that people bring into any present situation to analyze it. There was a lot of destruction. Some felt it more. Some states felt it more than others. And also there are very, very dangerous sentiments that people are saying are being thrown into this is why they don't trust it. Those that say that we're going to stay at home. Ethnic, religious, political, all of these are being brought into it. So as Otumba Debo started off by saying they should allow peaceful protest, nobody has spoken against peaceful protest. Nobody has spoken against a peaceful protest. And even the police, nobody has spoken. What everybody is saying is that they will be watching with hawk eyes. And if there's any slightest tendency that something apart from peaceful protest has come into this otherwise peaceful protest, then they will have to take action. It is their duty. And this is where people are saying that those who are coming out need to be very, very careful. That is without prejudice.
Yes, it is very, very important, because if I was part of the organizers of this, I will call it off. Call it off because it has been hijacked already. There are people, they tell, we want see what's happening in Kenya.
Yeah, it's interesting that people go to Kenya, that look at what happened. We want to bring Kenya here.
We want to bring Kenya to Nigeria. See what's happening in Kenya. Let it happen so that they will go and loot, they will go and kill, they will go and do all kinds of things, And when you do things like that, you don't expect the security agents to fold their hands and say, oh, okay, this is your right, go ahead. People will start dying. And some of these people that are going to die are going to be innocent people.
Yep. And the other thing, Dennis, is that I think I heard out of the national legislature that, was it the Senate president, that we don't even know who the organizers are, who to talk with. Who can we say, come, let's talk? There's no...
leaderless.
A leaderless organization, that has said... In fact, I was reading something this morning. NLC was, putting out a notice that, look, some people are saying that we should not be part of it or we should withdraw from it. And they said, how can we withdraw from something that was not ours in the first instance, that we did not organize, that we did not set up?
Part of it.
We're not. So to that extent, we're not. So we can't be withdrawing from a thing that we don't know anything about. Is the way I read NPC. Yeah. So these are the situations. Who exactly are these protesters? Who are the leaders? Now, I can imagine that they might be afraid to come forward, but the Tinubu administration, he's a known Democrat. He's a well-known Democrat.
He's a non-protester too.
Yes, he himself is a former protester, So if you have your ducks in a row, if you are sure of your motive and your methodologies, come forward. and let's talk seem to be what the authorities are saying. But nobody is willing to come forward. That means they are afraid that it might go south. And that exactly is what people, and if it does go south and you've come forward and you are saying that you are leading this, you're organizing it, you have the wherewithal, you have the capacity, then at least we will know who we can talk to. Since you can't be running around, chasing every youth in the street. But that has not been done. It cannot be done easily, is the truth of the matter. And so these are all the reasons why the elders and interested stakeholders are saying there are other ways. First of all, the president, you have the president's ears, you have his eyes. Everybody is working, who is working in the presidency is looking to make sure that this company is, in fact, the president even said that we will resolve this as a family of Nigerians. Everything concerning this whole protest, the reason for it is about the Nigerian family. I have heard expressions such as, we don't have any other country to call our own. We're not going to sit down here and let people burn it down and maim it, because coming back from that is not easy at all. I guess this is the real message that is being put out to the people. The protest is said to be starting on the 1st, and there are those who have questioned, what kind of a thing is that? If you are going to be setting the dates, who set the dates? Come forward. Let's talk about this some more. Nobody is showing. Why will the security officials not be suspicious? The National Security Advisor has been calling everybody together. The governors have met. The Governors Forum has met. No governor wants it in his domain, in his territory. Ministers have had their own meeting in the office of the Secretary to the federal government. So nobody has been sleeping since all of this started. If that is any satisfaction at all to those who are behind the proposed protest, the next thing to do is see how they can dialogue with government. That's what all the elders are mentioning. But they are not coming forward. And they are not coming forward for the very reasons that we are talking about, you and I, Dennis, that thing can easily be hijacked. And once it is hijacked, then we will be it. And I can't guarantee that it will not be hijacked. And I guess that's the problem. That's the problem.
It has been hijacked already. That's what I'm telling you. It has been hijacked already. Because you see, when the organizers cannot come out, they remain faceless. Meanwhile, there is these hoodlums who are telling you about Kenya. What else do you expect? It has been hijacked already. They are just waiting for the day to come so that they can go there and start looting people's houses and breaking down things and, killing people. That's what they want to do. So I think if there are genuine organizers, they should go ahead and call it off. Call it off, because this is not a genuine thing. Some hoodlums have already hijacked it, and I don't think it's for the good of the country.
Okay. Let me bring in Mazi Ugos, who's called in from Abuja. Good morning, Mazi Ugos.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, sir. I
greet you, sir. I like this program, and their guest from US is making a lot of sense. He's giving valid points. Now, let me just suggest something. Federal government and our president, they are doing well.
Please go ahead.
Now, if I don't want something that happened in Kenya to happen in Nigeria, the summary of what is this imbroglio is lack of communication. Many people have been calling through media houses. Government do this. Insecurity. Food shortage. Our people cannot go to the farm. There are a lot of, we have mineral resources. Nigeria is so blessed that if we go to farm, there will be no hunger in Nigeria. But at the end of the month, state governments will rush to Abuja, collect their monthly allocation. It's not helping matters. Look at people in the street, students. Some of them have graduated over 10 years, no work. So I'm feeling that they should pipe down at this strike and listen to the president. The president is doing very, very well, but his supporting his lieutenants are not helping him. They will talk a different, they will talk another. Bayo, Onanoga, I don't want to mention others. They are not helping matters. They should listen to what president is doing, because I know if he's given chance, he will do well. So that's my candidate advice. Thank you for the good job we are doing. God bless.
Thank you, Mazi Ugos, calling in from Abuja. Let me just introduce my other guest, who has just been able to land. I'm sure, so sorry about that. There must have been challenges, traffic, and all of that kind of a thing. Yeah, so sorry about that. Isaac Abrak, he's chairman of the Northern Christians Youth Professionals. He's also a journalist. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And the other guest that we've started the program with is Dennis Amakri, MON Security Consultant. He's joining us remotely. Before we continue, let me quickly take a break so that we won't be interrupted. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. And as I said, we've been joined by Isaac Abrak in the studio in Lagos here. He's chairman, Northern Christian Youth Professionals, and he's also a practicing journalist. So, all sorts of interested parties have been prevailing on the youth to reconsider this. Let me take your perspective on all of this.
I mean, first, I'd like to commend and appreciate those youths who are out there, who are already getting the understanding that this protest is coming at a time that that we cannot take risks. It's not worth the risks. So it's quite commendable. Now we are calling on others to please pay attention and understand why we are calling on the youths to reconsider and stay away, from that protest. And why are we saying this? Nigeria is at a position at the moment where we have low-hanging fruits.
Okay.
There is no doubt that there is hardship, economic hardship in the country, in the homes, difficult livelihoods. But what has resulted to these economic hardships? When the president came, of course, he inherited a very difficult economy. But of course, that was further heightening with the removal of the fuel subsidy. So, fuel subsidy removed, and all the filling stations, shut up their fuel prices. Now, we have beared this burden for some time now, about a year or so. Mm-hmm. Now, we have our own refineries coming on. And they are coming on just in August. The Dangote refinery, which is going to give us 52 million liters of fuel per day, is coming on by the end of in August. The Port Harcourt refinery, which is also coming up, is coming up by August. Warri and Kaduna refineries, we join them by December. Right? So why don't we be patient, and give these refineries the right atmosphere, the right environment to come and give us this fuel? Once we have these petrols in our filling station, definitely it is going to crash the prices of fuels in the filling stations.
And that's where the problem is, prices. This is the way it hit the ordinary person.
Absolutely.
Including the central bank and its rates, all of these have an effect on the ordinary man. So the ordinary man suddenly finds that he just doesn't have the money to buy food.
Yes.
That leads to hunger.
Yes.
There are reasons why food is scarce and all of that. So
yes,
all of these are problems that the ordinary Nigerian is, contending with. But government, there are many who are admiring government for saying that peaceful protest is a right. It is a guaranteed right.
It is.
And they have nothing against that.
Absolutely.
But what government is saying that it is going to it will have a zero tolerance for is for a violent protest that can lead to wanton destruction.
Yes. And of course it is already showing the signs that it can go, it can escalate, it can get out of hand. Because we don't know the people who are organizing this.
Exactly.
So therefore, we don't have the assurances that they have the mechanisms to keep this in control. I can tell you that from one of the states, the information that we are getting is that there are already hoodlums that are already saying, we are going to rob this shopping mall, we are going to rob this shopping mall, we are going to loot this place. Please, you people, go and vandalize and loot the ones on your street. Don't come to our place. So I came in, I met the other guest who was talking about the protest has been it has been hijacked already.
Indeed, you also see that.
Yes, when you don't have somebody who comes and say, okay, I have organized this thing and these are the parameters, this is how we are going to operate. These are the leaders that will take charge of from zone A to zone B. Already some people will take leadership.
Indeed, because we will be operating in a vacuum.
Yes, and as such, we are calling on the youth to please reconsider, stay away from this protest. Lagos is a classical case, you know, of a terrible situation where issues would go south. We have, I just give you a classical case. When we lost the singer Mohbad,
yes,
there was a wide uproar all over the country that we should, he should immediately, because he died in some funny circumstances, that we should immediately do a forensic, you know, a study of what led to his death. At that time, it couldn't be done in Nigeria. It had to be taken abroad. Why did this happen? Because the Lagos State DNA and Forensic Lab was destroyed by the NSAS. Okay. And the same youths who listened to the hip-hop that Mohbad was producing were the same people that called for the forensic test to be done. So you see, so at the destruction of that lab now, you know, we've lost properties worth of billions of naira. We've rendered the staffs in those places unemployed. You know, so these are issues that we cannot contend with. And now let me come back to the refineries. If this protest holds, it is clear that it's going to go south. And these refineries don't get to hit the ground running in August or by December. It means that we have to contend. We can no longer blame the president or anybody in this country, but to blame ourselves for the high cost of living. Because we have opportunity for these refineries to reduce the cost of the prices of commodities in the market.
So we need to give peace a chance.
Absolutely.
Let me bring in Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for holding on for a while. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yari.
Good morning
to the guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yari, what a man does is not what counts. It's what lies behind it. Nobody says that people do not have a right to protest, or to protest, rather. But what lies behind the protest? That's what counts. I've been seeing Peter Obi's tweets on social media about inciting people, showing them how to protest, showing examples of Kenya and all that for months now. And nobody is saying anything or doing anything about it. 2 days ago, Uncle Yori, I am a deep investigator in my own way. I came across some group of boys who are writing placards. And what did I see? One of them read, "Free Nnamdi Kanu." What has the protest or about hunger got to do with free Nnamdi Kanu? I am asking, and the government is knowing these things, is it that Peter Obi and those who are involved are not above the law? Uncle Yori, you ask that they don't have leaders. They have leaders, I can tell you. NLC president is one of them.
No, he just dissociated himself, as you saw. Yeah, he dissociated himself.
Yes, yes, sir.
He will do that, but we know what they are doing.
Okay.
This professor was Lagos Business School. is one of them.
Patu Tomi has also dissociated himself.
They are not talking to children.
Okay.
You know what's going on in this country. I hope when the protest comes, they will send their children and themselves will come to the streets and don't send the children of poor people to go and die. What they want to come and do in Lagos is to destroy the trains.
Okay, Mr. George. Well, thank you very much for calling in. We're going to thank you very much for calling in. We have heard you. We have heard you. And also let me add that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has also gone out saying that the people have a right to protest and that he supports the protest. Okay, nobody has, I mean, if the president has said that there is a right, a constitutional right for people, Falana SAN has said that there is a right, and I think he even commended that he had heard it from the president as well,
yes,
this constitutional provision,
yes,
so that there is a right. But the point that George was making in there, and let me bring this to Dennis Amakri, who is still with us. The point that he avoids that there is a difference between what is said and the intention behind what is said. Dennis, you heard, that gentleman put across, well, his viewpoint, but I was quick to say that, Patu Tomi, Peter Obi, they have said that, how can you say what you're saying? We are not part of this at all. And in fact, they find it slanderous and injurious. But Atiku Abubakar said he's solidly behind a peaceful protest, as is the right of Nigerians. Now, this is where Mr. George is going. People are not children. They are able to read between the lines. Give me your impression.
Yes, this is a communication problem, and I can tell you that, yes, we are not children, but some elders think in a very funny way, because why should somebody, we always try to get primordial ideas into our head, whereby we go ahead and because of what we have in our mind, we try to shape, the society, the opinion, the public opinions in society. Otherwise, how would you say that Patu Tomi, and Patu Tomi has been in the United States here. He just went to Nigeria, and then of course Peter Obi, and these guys, when they are really worried about certain things, they tell the president straightforward. They don't go behind and arrange people to go and start causing problems. So, these are the people that are causing the problem to make sure that society explodes so that they can gain out of it.
That is people that are accusing them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you mean.
We want a tranquil society. We want a tranquil society. We don't want any problems. The president is telling people what to do, and that's why I'm saying that there should be serious communication, civic engagement.
Okay.
I'm happy the opinion is into it now, and then that's traditional rulers. Other traditional rulers should come into it. And then, of course, leaders of thought.
Yeah, exactly. Religious leaders and leaders of thought.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, mm-hmm. And then, of course, you find that even these particular P2B people they are talking about, P2B knows the consequences of what will happen if people go there and start destroying things. And government should not shy at all. It should not shy in reaching out to these people and say, come, let us all sit down and talk about this. And then of course, the communication to society should be multifaceted, where people will be telling them, look, this is the way it is going.
Yeah.
And this is, we don't want people to go and start destroying things because this thing is hijacked already. I keep on saying
even our in-studio guest, he underlined that. Okay.
Yes, they are very witty.
Let me bring in Reverend Dominic. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning to your guest.
Indeed.
Honestly, every good Nigerian should pray that this strike or this protest should not work or should not take place. I'm a product of protest with the current president of Nigeria. We know what happens when we protest and how people can hijack it. The danger of having a protest now is this. Both George, both you sitting down there, all of us are feeling the pinch of this problem. So everybody in Nigeria is angry one way or the other. We must pray that this protest should not happen. But there are two things Mr. President will do. At times, another person, when I say it, another governor will say it. Mr. President should make a broadcast today, tomorrow, because Nigeria love him, Nigeria listen to him. Look at how we manage the NLC issue. For the first time in my history in Nigeria, as a Nigerian, I've not seen a president who went to negotiation with the labor unions one-on-one. He will send somebody. But this man, because he's a good man, had to go to labor, and they have understanding. Mr. President should make a broadcast to Nigeria today and tell them what he's doing so that we can move forward. Number two, you cannot be a problem, a solution. If Mr. President has claimed CBN, the man in CBN today as a governor is one of the best men on Nigeria, and he's doing everything. The people in NNPC that joined Buhari to put us in this mess, all of them must go. Mr. President should sack everybody from A to B in NNPC and bring a new team that will work with CBN and put this nation in the right place. Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Okay. And brothers should stop calling names. Okay. Listen to me, I went to market yesterday to buy a tube of yam. One ugly tube of yam was 6,500. I went back home hungry. Everybody's feeling it. There are reasons to flame up here in Nigeria. There are reasons for somebody to loot a shop. Do you know how I pity Nigerians? I spent over 200,000 naira as a pastor here. There are people who don't...
Okay, well, thank you very much, Reverend Dominic, for calling in. As always, we appreciate your call. We're fast running out of time, so let me just, round this off by going back to Dennis Amakre for his last word on this topic. Today, I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot more as the days, progress. So, Dennis, I think the final word that I was able to deduce from what you were saying was that people have to be very careful, and because it's not an open right. We hear people like you and lawyers say that where somebody's right ends is where the other person's begins, and so this is something that people should bear in mind.
That's very correct. And Yori, you see, although it's rights, fundamental human rights, and that's what democracy is all about. If it is a monarchy or some kind of dictatorship, we won't be talking about this, because they will wait for people to come. In fact, you will not come out, because you can't go and say you are protesting in North Korea.
No.
Don't try it. Yes,
okay.
But it's a democratic society, and then of course we should exercise our democracy. We voted these people in there, and then of course, if we don't agree with certain things they are doing, or if the ship is going in a different way, yes, the right to protest is there, and we should come out, protest, tell them how we feel, quietly, and go. Of course, the police have a job to do.
Exactly.
Make sure that in fact, it is not if hoodlums come, we are going to deal with them. Don't allow the hoodlums to come, number one. So the police should be ready to deal with this.
And we're going to have to leave it there, Dennis. I'm so sorry, but we've completely almost run out of time. But thank you very much for coming on the program. Again, very shortly, your last word on this.
Yeah, basically, I just want to call on the youths to, to stay away from this protest. We have registered a remarkable improvement in security. Banditry, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria, has been reduced drastically. And I know from covering insurgency that whenever there is instability, these are the times that these people, Boko Haram, the bandits, gets to move their weapons around. So let's not allow that to happen.
A word is enough for the wise. Thank you very much, Isaac. Mr. Isaac Abrak, a journalist and chairman, Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Appreciate you coming on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's our program. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.